In 2008, when they hosted their first Olympic Games, Xi Jinping was in charge. The event cemented his political position, and then he went on to become the president of China. Now in 2022, he is presiding over another Olympic event, and this one may spell the crash of his geopolitical position. China is seen as global enemy number one. The truth about the origin of the Wuhan virus is still not out. China refuses to give access or share data. There is no telling what goes behind the Great Firewall. So when China locks up more than 30 million people because of a few hundred cases, the world wonders if it's hiding something more sinister. Let me show you another video. China has set up quarantine camps like these for the infected. They look more like concentration camps, some say. Endless rows of metal boxes with suspected Wuhan virus patients inside. Then we have another video. It shows hundreds of buses carrying people to quarantine camps in China. According to some accounts, if there's one Wuhan virus case in an apartment, all residents of the building are packed into buses and sent to quarantine. Those who refuse to go are treated like this, manhandled by health officials and dragged out of their homes if they do not comply. China's crackdown on patients and people is not new. We've seen multiple instances in the last 2 years, but this time there is more at stake. The reputation of Xi Jinping, the chance to sports wash the genocide in Xinjiang. No wonder China is going to extreme lengths to secure the games. How's the rest of the world faring? Mulling another extreme. They're talking about living with COVID. The cases continue to rise. We'll begin with India. The active case count in India has touched 1.1 million, meaning there are more than 1 million COVID-positive patients in India as we speak. In the last 24 hours, more than 247,000 new cases were reported. That's a 27% jump in one day. What about deaths? 380 in a day. The trajectory does not look good as India readies for elections in 5 states. Prime Minister Modi held a virtual meeting with chief ministers of various states today to discuss ways to contain the surge. In the United States, a new study has established what most experts have been saying. Omicron will cause fewer hospitalizations, it says. This is based on data of 70,000 patients in California. But the findings of the study do not match America's reality. Hospitalization numbers have broken previous records here. This is according to the US Department of Health. More than 140,000 Americans are in hospital. This is the highest since January 2021. It doesn't help that America's top health expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says that Omicron is likely to, quote-unquote, infect everybody. He said the risk of severe illness remains low. In neighboring Mexico, there's a sharp surge in cases. At least 44,000 cases were reported this morning. That's a new daily record for this country, 44,000 a day. In Brazil, too, Omicron has become the dominant variant. And the president's statements do not help. Jair Bolsonaro has called Omicron a welcome variant, one that could spell the end of the pandemic. His remarks have triggered some strong responses. The WHO's emergency director has issued a statement. He has said that no virus that kills people is welcome. He's right. Meanwhile, in France, the government is clashing with the education sector. Schools have been shut down. Teachers have hit the streets. Some have even resigned. They're upset with what they call the negligence of health authorities. They say cases are soaring in schools and the government's measures are falling woefully short. Reports say this is the biggest education strike in France in recent history. Trade unions expect 75% of primary school teachers and 62% of secondary school teachers to quit in the days ahead.
C'est plutôt du mépris qui est ressenti par la profession.
It is essentially disdain from the government that we teachers are feeling. A disdain related to a complete denial of the reality. On one hand, we are telling them our demands, calling them for help, telling them what we would want, and And on the other hand, the government ignores all of that and tells us that they know what the reality is and that everything is fine, or that things will be sorted out, or that the strategy has just changed and everything will be better. We cannot accept that.
Meanwhile, vaccine makers continue to chase variants. After Pfizer said that their Omicron jab would be ready by March, AstraZeneca has now said that in its early trial data, they found that a third dose helps against Omicron. It apparently generates a higher antibody response. The fact is, this virus has spawned more studies than variants. People are frustrated, disillusioned, and just tired of the constantly changing rules. We've all been...
Okay, you guys, and also, apparently, a day ago, there were 100 monkeys, and they were being transported, and 4 of those monkeys got loose. And it's being said that these types of monkeys are used for coronavirus studies, for viruses. Do a little Google search on that, y'all, because I don't even know what to say about that. 4 of these monkeys got loose. It took them a little while to get them back in their cages, and then they euthanized them. They killed them afterwards. Why did they do that? Anyways, God bless you. Keep looking up. It's almost time for us to be out of here, you guys.